Welcome back to Regular Guys Outdoors. I'm Chris. It is now time for Brian and I to make the final push on our 2022 elk archery season here in Colorado. So we linked up on a Friday night at his place and drove out to the National Forest. We get there in the dark and got to navigate some kind of nasty roads. Then we got to cross the creek that prevented us from doing our recon in the summertime. It is significantly lower now.
Baby's green now.
Next morning we're up, gonna get busy. It's a frosty morning. So off we go. And it's not too long before we realize why it is we've been avoiding this particular area.
Short people problems.
We've got deadfall to contend with. It sure does make for a terrible hike. And kind of a dangerous one too. And of course there's nothing like making it harder on yourself. I lost the GoPro off my head and had to go back and find it.
Things harder on yourself.
You still thinking about those life choices?
Yeah, like, why do I go hunting with Brian?
That's our path.
The deadfall did clear up a bit, and there was some fresher sign as we got further back in there. We found our campsite and we set up our tent. This is actually Ian's tent, and Ian's stove. We're borrowing it from him.
You got me, you got Brian, you got the stove, bunch of wood over there. Try to find some.
I think that would be prudent of us per our set goals.
Considering we're hunting, we probably ought to go hunting.
As we're trying to get to a certain spot, Brian spots an elk. He moves forward and I stay back to call.
I'm gonna start calling.
That incident petered out just as quick as it started. So we're finding some sign out here. Got this nice rub. We realize we're not going to get up to the spot we want to go, so we're going to go check out what we got listed as a wallow out in this other direction. The problem was getting there. Again, we ran into the deadfall that keeps us out of this area.
Just like hold my breath every time I do that.
Yeah.
It took forever to get back in there, and it wasn't that far. So we get to the spot. It's a spot that I remembered after we saw it. I could not figure it out on the map what it was. But then we're just kind of sitting there. We're starting to have a snack, and boom, an elk bugles within about 300 yards. I fall back, Brian goes forward, and I'm going to try to call and rake and whatnot behind us. So if he comes at all to come check me out, Brian is 100 yards from me and hopefully can get a shot. Brian can hear the bull chuckle down in the woods. I'm calling from a spot that's got a bunch of rubs in it. Try as we might, we cannot get that joker to budge. So that petered out as well. So now we're just kind of heading back to camp, and we found a kind of a way to get out of the deadfall. And as we're going up, just about as it's approaching legal shooting hours, we run into a cow and some other cows. So we're trying to work them in. I'm up front now, Brian's behind, and we just couldn't get them to move a whole lot. What we didn't realize was that top of the hill where they were had a lot of deadfall in it, and so maybe they couldn't come even if they wanted to.
Well, today we did a lot of bow hiking. We certainly climbed over a bunch of deadfall, and that is a thing we forget about this unit. It gets worse every year as the trees fall, and more of them fall and more of them fall. So yeah, that's been a damper on morale.
It takes about an hour to go 500 yards.
Yeah. If you want to figure out how to do less than a mile per hour, come up here. It's terrible.
The next morning, we're not exactly bright and chipper.
Oh, morning B-roll here.
Hope I got enough beauty rest.
Ooh, we might be here a while.
But we do got a little morning coffee. So we camped here because we could walk right outside of our tent and do some pretty good glassing. So we're trying to give her a go here. Eventually, we spot a couple cows way out there. And of course, they're on private.
I like that one. That was way out there. Oh my God.
So even though that bull was really far off, we were kind of wanting to go look at that area anyway. So we start heading out in that direction.
So we're here doing a water resupply, and we just heard a bugle over here, and with this really hard running creek, we think he's got to be pretty close if we could hear him over the creek. And we got a little bit of a ridge here, so we heard him. So we're packing water and getting up out of here, getting that direction.
So we go around that ridge, And that bull is actually working with us a little bit. He's answering our calls to some degree. And eventually, though, he goes quiet. But then through the trees, I see 4 legs walking through the trees right to left.
Surprised he hasn't popped out on the left yet. He was moving pretty good. Did not seem like a cow walk, like a cattle walk. I saw all 4 legs cross through an opening.
Then we got another visitor that kind of spoiled things here.
Oh, there's a moose coming this way. Yeah, he's coming. Gonna come right at us. Right here. To the right of this big, you see him?
So even though seeing that moose was pretty cool, pretty sure it messed up our situation because I'm really sure that bull was heading in our direction. So then we decide to go up the hill that's behind us.
Steep and covered in deadfall.
And at some point, yes, deadfall yet again. However, near the top, we got some pretty good sign up there. Up on top, we were kind of sitting there resting, and we heard a noise, so Brian split off to the left, and I kind of stayed put. With the fresh sign up there, we thought we were into something. We were, just not what we wanted. Bear cub, you know mama's nearby. Brian's not a big fan of bears.
What'd you see over there?
Bear cub.
Bear cub.
Yep. There's more over there too. I couldn't see. I could hear more moving. So I was like, oh, cub first. I'm out.
Bears. Nice. Moose and bears this morning.
Scared the crap out of me.
Then we moved on, had a coffee break. A little later on, when we were way out there, we had an elk bugle on his own. So we advanced and got to within maybe 200 yards of him, and then we kind of ran out of cover. We couldn't advance any further, so we tried to do a little calling from back here. Hoping that being that close to him, we could get him just to move a little bit and get into shooting range. Brian moves forward a little bit with his bow. I'm going to be back here. I'm going to rake and do a little calling.
All right, so we just been sitting here wondering what we did wrong, what we could have done different. Because that dude shut up after he answered us the first time. Well, we're just sitting here and we haven't probably called in 30-something minutes. I was eating a snack and he just bugled again from the same place. So we're gonna try to get even closer to him. See what happens.
We're gonna skirt this meadow. And then we're gonna try and go right up, straight at him. And bugle.
So after moving up closer, absolutely nothing happened at all. Maybe he saw us and moved off, I don't know. But we had a pretty terrible walk back in the dark that night. It was pretty terrible, really terrible. And it was because of the deadfall, as I keep saying. We ended up going through it, trying to retrace our steps from the morning where we didn't have much deadfall, but we were off just enough that we were just, it was terrible. It was terrible. But at least we are in and around some elk, so that makes the day go by pretty good. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down there, and as always, thanks for watching.